Good morning, Vietnam, or Reigate, actually, as it is today. Just wanted to do a quick video. My son's just about to go and play football over there. He's got a football match and it's raining, so I thought I'd just spend 1 minute in the car before I go over there. And something I hear quite a lot, and it's something that's happened to me in the past, is especially when you're looking to go contracting for the first time, is having this attachment to the daily rate, for example. So, I was talking to someone the other day in one of these clarity calls, and we're talking about day rates of £400 to £500 a day, for example, which, to me is like a sort of standard contracting rate for someone with a bit of experience in a decent enough sort of niche or area. And of course, when you start to think about that money, especially the first time you're ever going contracting, it can be quite daunting, and you can actually, do yourself an injustice by going for roles, or at least suggesting to agencies that you would accept lower rates that are less than what you are worth, what your skills and experience are worth. Because you start thinking about the number, you start thinking about the money, you start thinking 500 quid a day, 500, but that's £2,500 a week, Dave. £2,500 a week is just mental, isn't it? I just remember my dad getting, in a perm job, getting £1,000 a month, for example, or whatever it was, £2,000 a month, maybe. Even myself getting, when I was on 24, 27 grand, I'd be getting maximum of £2,000 a month, per month. And so when my second contract was £400 a day, so that was my second contract. My first one was about 260, I think, just for 3 months. But my second one was 400 quid a day, which was £2,000 a week, right? £2,000. Now, obviously, with any calculation of salary or contracting rates, you've obviously got all your taxes and all that crap to sort out, right? But that's why I always compare like for like, because I don't care about benefits and stuff like that. I just like to look at the raw data of the day rate versus a salary, okay? Because they're all going to get taxed. That's just a simple rule of thumb I use. But when you start thinking, hang on, £400 a day times 5, £2,000 a week, it can hold you back. And it's definitely made me think, oh my God, can I charge that amount of money? Especially when I've done short-term pieces of work. And, I've charged £650, £750. I've even charged £1,000, I think, for 1 day's work in the past. But I reckon there's lots of times where I've not wanted to charge that amount, because there's that voice in my head saying, oh my God, Dave, that's how can you charge £1,000 for a day's work? It's like, people don't get that per month. Why are you charging £1,000 for a day? So you start to belittle yourself. You start to talk yourself out of charging what you're worth, what the client might be prepared to pay. And of course, it's supply and demand, isn't it? If someone wants you for 1 day to go and fix an urgent problem, that might be something that company, that bank, whatever it is, really needs that expertise right now. And they're willing to pay you £1,000 to do it. Those situations do exist out there, okay? So don't say they don't exist. They do exist. And therefore, you should be charging a premium, in my opinion, if your work is, very specialised, or if it's short-term work, for example, or if it's emergency type work to help a client who you know is in trouble. That doesn't mean to say you take advantage, but ultimately, it's like if you get a decorator quote and he's charging you 500 quid and someone's giving you a quote for 200 quid. If the 500 quid guy is quoting himself out of the deal, that means that he's quoting himself high because he knows he's busy, he doesn't need the work, right? That's fair enough, because you'll go with the £200 a day decorator guy, won't you? But if you really need someone and he's the only guy available, then you pay 500 quid a day. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's up to you. It's up to the client to choose whether they want to pay that or not. So just be aware of you thinking that that rate is too much money, right? Because you just got to treat it, in my opinion, as a number. It's just a number. If you're a project manager, if you're a DBA, if you're a Unix specialist, a Windows specialist, I think the sort of default level you should be going in at, and I don't know your particular situation, but you know, you want to be aiming at the 400 to 500 quid mark, at least. You know, 500 quid, in my experience from what I've seen in the market in the last couple of years, is about a sort of default level for lots of IT contracts. And obviously if you're doing, you know, specialized work, then you can charge a bit more. Maybe if you're in certain areas, for example, north of Scotland, or working for, you know, public sector, for example, then rates might be a bit lower and all that sort of stuff. So just I just have a general rule of thumb of £500 a day for most contractors, okay, depending on experience, skills and all that other gubbins. But don't think about that is 500 quid, because then you'll talk yourself out of it. And when you're talking with an agency, of course, you want to come across with confidence, don't you? And that's why I say to people who have not contracted before, that once you've got a contract under your belt, so my first one at 260, the reason I got my second contract at 400 was because I knew that client was being charged 800, I think, by a consultancy organisation. So I knew 400 quid was doing them a good deal, and it was doing me a good deal. Then my next one after 400, I think, was 500. So as some people in the groups have said, you know, always try and increase your rate. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it will go down again, but always try and make sure that graph is gradually going up and it's definitely not dipping down. That's the main thing. So just to summarize, don't think of your day rate as the pound notes in your bank account, right? Because especially when you're looking for a contract, you're going to just start thinking, oh my God, how can I charge £2,000 a week for my services when I'm only getting £3,000 per month at the moment? Because that's going to come across in your confidence. When you're consistently earning 500 quid a day, how do you think you're going to react when you talk to an agency that comes to you and says, I've got a role here, Dave, that's 300 quid a day? I've literally said to agencies, you know, in a joking way, I say, look, I don't get out of bed for anything less than £400 a day. Come on, you know. My last role was £500 a day. Ideally, I'm looking for sort of £550 to £600 a day for this job. But money isn't everything. I will look at the role in its entirety. I want to see what the work is like. Is the project exciting? Is it something that I want on my CV? Do I want that project on my CV? Do I want that client on my CV? Because that's the important thing. That's the thing that makes a difference to me. Even if you can actually, even if you know it's just for the money, right? That's a good way I've found to talk to recruiters or hiring managers, to say it's not just about the money, it's about getting the right role. Okay. Anyway, I hope that's useful. I'm going to go and watch my son play football now. Have a fantastic weekend, and I hope it's not piddling down where you are. Okay. All the best. See you. Bye.